Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we re-tackling a scenario that pushes human endurance to its absolute limits, surviving in the bone-chilling cold of minus 25 degrees Celsius. This isn't just cold. This is a serious, life-threatening environment where every decision matters. So, grab a hot drink, get comfortable, and let us dive into the critical skills you need to make it through when the world turns to ice. Imagine this. You're stranded. Your car has broken down on a remote road, or a wrong turn on a hike has left you lost as heavy snow begins to fall and the temperature plummets. Panic is your first and greatest enemy. The moment you realize you're in trouble, you need to stop, take a deep breath, and think. Remember the acronym STOP: Stop, Think, Observe, and Plan. Your mind is your most important survival tool. A clear head will save your life long before a fancy gadget will. Your first priority is always shelter. At minus 25, hypothermia can set in terrifyingly fast. You need to get out of the wind and insulate yourself from the frozen ground. If you're near your vehicle, stay with it. A car is an excellent pre-made shelter. It offers protection from the wind and snow and makes you a much larger, more visible target for rescuers. If you're on foot, you'll need to build something. Look for natural features. A dense cluster of evergreen trees, a rock outcropping, or a fallen log can serve as the foundation for your shelter. The goal is to create a small, enclosed space that traps your body heat. One of the most effective emergency shelters in deep snow is a snow cave or a quinsy. A snow cave is dug into a deep drift, ideally on a hillside. You want to dig a tunnel upwards and then create a small chamber. This design traps warm air as heat naturally rises. Make sure to poke a small ventilation hole in the roof to prevent carbon dioxide buildup, especially if you plan to use a candle or small stove inside. A quinsy is made by piling up a huge mound of snow, letting it settle and harden for an hour or two, and then hollowing it out from the inside. The key is to make the walls about a foot thick and the interior just big enough for you to sit or lie down in. A smaller space is much easier to heat with just your body. Once your shelter is established, the next critical element is fire. Fire provides not just warmth, but also a psychological boost, a way to melt snow for water, and a signal for help. Starting a fire in these conditions is incredibly challenging. Everything is wet or frozen. You need to be methodical. First, create a platform of bark or sticks to keep your fire off the snow. Then gather tinder, kindling, and fuel. Tinder is the finest, driest material you can find. Think birch bark, the inner fibers of dead wood, or even lint from your pockets. Kindling is pencil-sized sticks. Fuel is the larger logs that will sustain the fire. Look for dead, standing wood, as it's likely to be drier than wood on the ground. Shave off the wet outer layers to get to the dry core. Use a lighter, waterproof matches or a ferro rod to ignite your tinder. Carefully nurture the flame and gradually add larger pieces of wood. Now, let's talk about water. You might be surrounded by snow, but you're in a desert of sorts. Eating snow directly is a bad idea. It lowers your core body temperature and uses up precious energy to melt. You must melt it first. Use your fire and a metal container if you have one. If not, you can use a plastic bottle or even a waterproof bag, holding it near the fire, but not so close that it melts. Always purify your water if you can. Even clean-looking snow can contain bacteria. Boiling is the most reliable method. Dehydration happens faster than you think, even in the cold, as your body loses moisture through breathing. Drink up whenever you get the chance. Your clothing is your personal shelter system. The key is layering. A base layer wicks sweat away from your skin. A mid-layer, like fleece or wool, provides insulation, and an outer shell protects you from wind and moisture. Cotton is a killer in the cold. Once it gets wet, it loses all insulating properties and sucks heat from your body. Avoid it at all costs. It's also crucial to keep your head, hands, and feet warm. A huge amount of body heat is lost through your head, so a good hat is non-negotiable. Wear gloves or mittens, and make sure your boots are waterproof and insulated. If your feet get wet, you're in serious trouble. Try to dry out any damp clothing near your fire whenever you have the opportunity. Signaling for rescue is your ticket home. During the day, create signals that contrast with the white snow. Stomping out a large SOS in an open area and lining it with dark branches can be seen from the air. A signal mirror, or any reflective object, can be used to flash at aircraft or distant search parties. At night, your fire is your best signal. If you hear a plane or helicopter, try to create a bright flare-up by adding green, sappy boughs to the fire, which will produce a lot of smoke. 3 of anything is a universal distress signal. 3 fires, 3 whistle blasts, 3 flashes of light. Let's quickly recap the priorities. Shelter first. Get out of the elements, then fire for warmth, water, and morale. Then signal for rescue. Throughout it all, you must maintain a positive mental attitude. Believe that you will be found. Believe in your ability to survive. Sing songs, tell yourself stories, do whatever it takes to keep your spirits up and fight off the feelings of despair. It's this mental fortitude that separates survivors from statistics. Surviving in minus 25-degree weather is an extreme test of will and knowledge. It's about working smart, conserving energy, and respecting the immense power of nature. The skills we've discussed today aren't just for hardcore adventurers. They're for anyone who drives or hikes in cold climates. Being prepared can make all the difference. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into cold weather survival. I hope you found it valuable. If you did, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content on staying safe and prepared in the great outdoors. Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.